Well, let me tell you, if you've got a 1997 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny lying around, you might just be sitting on a small fortune, like a serious small fortune. We're talking about a coin that could be worth up to $1.9 million. Yup, you heard me right, a penny, that's 1 cent, is worth nearly 2 million bucks. Stick around, because I'm about to explain how you can turn that dusty old penny jar into a treasure chest. Alright, let's break this down. Now, you're probably thinking, how in the world does a penny from 1997 go from being worth 1 cent to 1.9 million? Great question. Let me explain that. First off, it's not just any ordinary 1997 penny. We're talking about the 1997 D Mint Mark penny, which was struck at the Denver Mint. It looks like your typical penny. The image of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's where things get interesting. This particular penny has an error on it. A minting error, to be specific. You see, sometimes, when coins are being stamped, things go a little haywire. The metal doesn't fully fill the mold, or the press doesn't quite line up perfectly. The result? A rare error that makes the coin worth way more than just its face value. And that's the case with some 1997 D pennies. Now, before you start rating your coin collection, keep in mind not every 1997 D penny is worth a fortune. The error that makes this penny special is very rare. So rare, in fact, that some of these pennies have been sold for astronomical prices at auction. One even went for $1.9 million. Can you imagine? I mean, that's more than what some people pay for cars. Speaking of which, did you know that this penny could actually make you more than a car? That's because these error pennies are so scarce and desirable that collectors from all over the world are willing to pay top dollar for them. In fact, these rare coins are so highly prized that if you manage to find one, you could turn your pocket change into a small fortune and buy a new car, if that's your thing. Now, I know you're probably itching to find out if you've got one of these pennies stashed in your drawer somewhere. Here's what you need to look for. First, check the mint mark. If you see a D under the date, that means it was minted in Denver. The big giveaway with these rare pennies is the error in the minting process. Sometimes they have a double die error, meaning the design was stamped twice, slightly out of alignment. This can cause a distorted image on the coin, especially on Lincoln's face or the lettering. Like any collector's item, condition is key. The better the condition of the penny, the higher the value. If it's shiny, crisp, and nearly flawless, that's even better. Let me tell you a funny story. I once found a coin in my couch cushions. I thought, just another penny. So, I threw it in a jar with all my other loose change. Fast forward to a few weeks ago. I decided to clean up my space. Yes, I was that person with a mountain of coins lying around. I took a look at this particular penny and noticed something odd. It didn't look like the others. The mint mark looked a little off, and the design was a bit blurry. My heart raced as I thought, could this be one of those rare error coins? I rushed to my computer, Googled it, and turns out, it wasn't. But for a brief moment, I thought I was about to become a millionaire. It just goes to show that sometimes, you never know what could be hidden in the most unlikely places. So, what's the takeaway here? If you've got a 1997 D Abraham Lincoln penny lying around, don't just throw it away. Take a closer look. It could be your ticket to $1 million. But remember, these coins are rare. So don't expect to find one in every jar of change you have. If you do, though, you might just want to get it appraised. Who knows? You could be sitting on a gold mine now. Before you run off to dig through your spare change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our coin treasure hunt community. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you find coins that are worth way more than you think. You'll want to be the first to know when that next big coin jackpot comes along. So go ahead, subscribe, and let's make sure you don't miss out on any of these hidden gems. What if I told you that you might have a coin sitting in your collection, or maybe even in your change jar, that's worth over $1 million? Sounds crazy, right? But believe it or not, there's a coin that's pulling in a jaw-dropping $1.3 million on the market today. That coin? The 1981 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard me right. This humble little penny could make you a millionaire. But how, exactly, does that happen? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be checking your pocket change like a treasure hunter. Okay, let's break this down. First things first, why does this penny, which you probably wouldn't give a second glance to, hold such massive value? We all know pennies are usually worth 1 cent, right? But here's the kicker. The 1981 no-mint mark penny is incredibly rare. You're probably thinking, wait, what's so special about a penny from 1981? Well, let's back up a bit. Every year, the U.S. Mint stamps pennies with a mint mark. This mark tells you where the coin was produced, whether in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. In 1981, most pennies were made in Philadelphia and had a mint mark to show it. But for a tiny handful of them, something went terribly wrong. A small batch of pennies were struck without any mint mark. Talk about a printing error. And that error is what makes these coins so valuable today. They were never meant to be without a mint mark, which makes them incredibly rare. Now, I can already hear you asking, how do I know if I've got one of these golden, well, copper-colored pennies in my collection? Great question. Keep an eye out for any 1981 penny that doesn't have the D for Denver or the P for Philadelphia mint mark on the reverse side. It's that simple that I bet you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true. How do I know that my 1981 penny is actually worth over $1 million? Well, here's where things get even more interesting. These coins are so rare that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. The value is driven by their scarcity. There are only a handful of them in existence, and they've been sold for mind-boggling amounts. In fact, some of them have been auctioned for over $1.3 million. I mean, who knew a penny could make you that rich? Let me tell you a quick story from my own experience. A few years ago, I was at a local coin show, and I overheard a conversation between two collectors. One was showing off a 1981 penny, and the other guy was practically drooling over it. I thought to myself, what's so special about that penny? It looks just like any other penny from the 80s. But when the collector revealed it was a no-mint mark version, it was like the room went quiet. The value of that penny was more than most of us will ever make in a lifetime, and I couldn't believe it. Now, don't start throwing away your 1981 pennies just yet. The thing with rare coins is that the value depends on their condition. If your penny's been through the ringer, scratched, tarnished, or looking like it's been through a coin laundry, you're not going to get $1.3 million for it. The rarer the coin and the better its condition, the higher the price tag. So, if you have a 1981 penny with no mint mark that's in mint condition, congratulations, you might be sitting on a small fortune. But don't rush to eBay just yet. If you think you have one of these rare pennies, you'll want to get it authenticated by a professional grading service. Getting your penny graded is the best way to determine its true market value. These grading companies will assess the coin's condition, and once you've got that official certification, you can confidently sell it for top dollar. So, what's the takeaway here? You might just have a hidden treasure in your pocket, and it could be worth way more than just a cent. And while not every 1981 penny is going to make you a millionaire, knowing how to spot rare coins and learning about their value is a great way to start building your collection, or even cashing in on a coin that's been in your change jar for years. Before you go checking every coin in your wallet, let me remind you, this isn't just about finding a valuable penny. It's about getting to know your coins better, discovering their history, and learning the tricks that collectors use to identify rare finds. If you enjoyed learning about this incredible coin, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips, tricks, and strategies for discovering coins worth big money. Trust me, there's more out there than you think. Are you ready to get your hands on a true treasure? I'm about to introduce you to a penny that's worth more than a cup of coffee at a fancy cafe. Okay, probably more than a year's worth of lattes. I'm talking about the 1978 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yep, you heard that right. This little coin could potentially fetch you $1.7 million. So grab your magnifying glass, sit back, and let's dive into why this penny is the stuff of legend, and how you might have one stashed away in your change jar without even knowing it. Alright, let's rewind to 1978. If you weren't around back then, no worries, I've got you covered. It was the year Greece ruled the theaters. The iPhone was a concept nobody could even dream of, and the world was buzzing with the excitement of disco and bell-bottoms. And in the world of coin collecting, something truly bizarre was about to happen. But hold on, before we get to that, let me tell you about the infamous mint mark, or in this case, the lack of one. The US Mint has a system for stamping coins with a mint mark to show where they were made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Most of the time, these mint marks were there to show where your coin came from, and it was a pretty regular thing. But in 1978, something weird went down. A batch of pennies was struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. That's right, no mint mark. None. Zilch. Nada. This tiny oversight has caused one of the most insane bidding wars in coin collecting history. Now, the mystery of these 1978 pennies has intrigued collectors for years. Why? Well, the general belief is that these no mint mark pennies were actually struck accidentally as part of a mishap during production. It wasn't supposed to happen, but boy, did it create a storm in the world of coins. It's like the coin version of finding a misprinted $100 bill that's worth thousands of dollars. You get it. An error can make a coin worth way more than face value. So, what does that mean for your pocket change? If you happen to have a 1978 penny without a mint mark, congratulations, you might have found the equivalent of a hidden gold mine. The most valuable ones are in perfect condition, graded as mint state or uncirculated. These pennies have sold for upwards of $1.7 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. What are the odds of me finding one of these? Well, I'll tell you, they're pretty low, but not impossible. Keep looking in those loose change jars, folks. You never know when $1 million penny might pop up. But here's where it gets interesting. If you find one, how do you know it's the real deal? First off, you're going to need to check if it's from 1978 and actually has no mint mark. You can do that by using a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. They're pretty inexpensive, but they'll make a huge difference in helping you spot those valuable, mint-era coins. Now, let me tell you a quick story from my own experience. A few years back, I found what I thought was just another old penny in my change. It was scuffed, a little dirty, but it had that something. You know what I mean? A little twinkle of potential. I grabbed my magnifying glass, gave it a look, and, drumroll please, it wasn't a 1978, but a 1969 penny with a double die. I almost fainted. Well, not really, but it was a pretty epic moment. The point is, sometimes you just gotta trust that gut feeling and do a little digging. And who knows? That 1978 penny could be hiding right under your nose. So, to sum it up, if you find a 1978 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you're looking at a serious collector's item and a shot at some serious cash. Whether you're in it for the thrill of finding hidden treasure or you're just looking to build your coin collection, keep your eyes peeled for these rare gems. And if you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money, strategies to find treasures, and all things collectible, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next episode where I dive into another rare coin you could be sitting on. So, hit that bell, because you never know when a coin in your pocket might just make you a millionaire. Alright, let's talk about a penny. A tiny coin that most of us probably toss in the jar at home, right? But what if I told you that one of these seemingly useless pennies could be worth over $1.2 million? Yes, you heard that right. 1.2 million. Sounds too good to be true? Well, grab your magnifying glasses, because today we're diving into the mysterious 1982 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could turn your loose change into a small fortune. Stick around to find out how you might have one of these bad boys sitting in your couch cushions. So, here's the deal. In 1982, the US Mint was making a ton of pennies, right? But guess what? Some of them were missing the mint mark. That's right, no D or S stamped on the back. And, as you can imagine, anything that's off or out of the ordinary in the world of coins gets collectors' hearts racing. Like finding that last donut in the box when you thought they were all gone. That's the excitement we're talking about. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I've got one of these valuable pennies? It's pretty simple, actually. Check the back of your penny. No mint mark means you've got a coin that could potentially fetch big bucks. But hold on. Before you start throwing your pennies around the room in excitement, there's more to the story. Now, let's be clear. Just because your 1982 penny doesn't have a mint mark doesn't mean it's worth $1 million. Oh no. You see, these rare coins didn't get into circulation by accident. In fact, the no mint mark pennies were actually the result of a huge mistake at the mint. A small number of them were accidentally struck without the mint mark, which was supposed to be there to tell you which mint they came from: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. It was the perfect storm for collectors because, well, mistakes make things valuable in the world of rare coins. To be clear, the real jackpot penny here is the one minted in Philadelphia. That's the one that can make you a millionaire. There's a slight twist, though. Only a handful of these 1982 no-mint mark pennies were ever found. They're super rare. As in, super rare. We're talking about a coin with legendary status in the collector's world. And yes, the last time I checked, one of these coins sold for over $1.2 million at auction. That's right. Someone out there is living large thanks to a small, but very mighty, penny. It's crazy, right? A coin that most people would see as, well, just another penny in their pocket. So, how do you find out if you have this hidden gem in your collection? Well, let me share a little story from my own life. A few years ago, I was that person, just tossing coins into a jar without thinking twice about them. One day, I was cleaning up and thought, why not take a closer look at these? Maybe I can find something cool. After a few hours of staring at pennies, I didn't find a 1982 no-mint mark, but I did find a coin worth a couple of $100. Not bad, right? I was this close to a $1.2 million mistake. But hey, it's always good to check your coins, because, who knows? You might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Keep in mind, condition matters. If the penny's been through the ringer, well, it's not going to fetch top dollar, but if it's in pristine shape, you might be in business. Now, don't go running to a coin dealer with your 1982 pennies just yet. A lot of these are still floating around in the wild, and not all of them are worth a fortune. You need to make sure yours is in great condition. Great condition means no nicks, no wear, and no scratches. The better the condition, the higher the value. It's like a coin's beauty contest, and the better your coin looks, the more it will shine when it comes to the money part. So, what can you do with all this info? First of all, take a good look at the pennies you've got lying around. You never know. Maybe that throwaway penny in your drawer is the key to your next big payday. And second, keep on hunting for coins that could be worth more than face value. After all, who doesn't love a good treasure hunt? If you enjoyed this wild ride into the world of rare coins and want more tips on how to turn your everyday change into serious cash, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because I've got more awesome content just like this coming your way. If you think this is fun, trust me, you won't want to miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next treasure hunt. I'm going to share the story of the 1988 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, the rare gem you might be holding without even knowing it. So grab that jar of change from your drawer, because you could be sitting on a fortune. All right, let's break this down. We all know pennies, right? That little copper coin we toss around without a second thought? But sometimes, just sometimes, those pennies hide secrets. And no, I'm not talking about that sticky penny you found under the couch cushion last week. I hope you washed it. I'm talking about the 1988 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that has stunned collectors with its incredible value. Now, before you rush to check your penny jar, let me explain why this specific coin is worth a small fortune. So, what makes the 1988 D penny stand out? To the naked eye, it looks like just another regular Lincoln penny. But it's not the coin itself that's the star of the show. It's the rarity and some key production errors that have made this little guy legendary. In 1988, most pennies were minted at the Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint. But a small handful of pennies from the Denver Mint were made with some rare, unintended errors. These errors are what make them highly collectible, and some of these coins have been sold for upwards of $1 million in recent auctions. You're probably thinking, wait, how can a penny that's so small and unimpressive be worth that much? I find pennies in my couch cushions all the time. Well, let me tell you, it's not about how the penny looks at first glance. The value comes from the condition, the error, and of course, the rarity. Now, you're probably wondering, what makes this penny worth $1 million? Here's the thing. It's the minting error that collectors are after. These errors can be something simple like a misaligned die, or in some cases, the penny might have been struck twice or even have the wrong planchet. The rarer these mistakes are, the higher the value. To give you an idea, a coin that might appear to have the usual D mint mark could be hiding an error, making it a diamond in the rough. So, If you happen to find one with an obvious defect or a really well-preserved version, you could strike gold, or, should I say, struck gold? See what I did there? Okay, let's get real. Not every 1988 D penny is going to be worth $1 million, but you might be surprised by how much some are worth. That little D on the coin tells you it was minted in Denver. So, make sure that's there first. Look for things like double strikes, misaligned dies, or other imperfections that might stand out to the trained eye. A penny in perfect condition is worth a lot more than one that's been passed around like a hand-me-down sweater. Coins that are graded as MS 67 or higher are especially valuable. Don't be discouraged if you don't find the $1 million penny in your change jar. There are plenty of pennies out there that can still fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. Now, let's talk about numbers. The value of these rare pennies can vary. While the $1 million price tag is reserved for only the best examples, you might still find that your penny is worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Some 1988 D pennies have sold for $10,000 or more. One thing I've learned in my own coin hunting adventures is that the condition of the coin can make or break the deal. I remember once finding a penny that I thought might be worth something. I got all excited, looked it up, and it turned out to be worth maybe 3 cents? Not a million, not even $1. But hey, at least I was on the right track. So, after all that talk about rare pennies, you might be itching to check your pockets and start hunting. And I don't blame you. Who knows? You could be the next one to find a 1988 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could change your life. If you found this video helpful, and maybe even a little entertaining, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my other tips on coins worth money. Trust me, you never know when that next penny could be worth $1 million. And hey, if you've ever found a rare coin or had an epic coin hunting story, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going. We're talking about an actual penny that's been sitting in your pocket or maybe even hiding somewhere in a jar of loose change. Sound crazy? Well, stick around because we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1985 D Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could make you a millionaire. Yep, you heard me right, a penny worth $2 million. How insane is that? Wait, I've got tons of pennies lying around. Am I sitting on a gold mine? Well, maybe, but not all pennies are created equal, and I'm here to break it down for you in the next 30 minutes. So grab a drink, sit back, and let's get to the bottom of this numismatic treasure chest. Let's kick things off with a little history lesson. The 1985 D penny is a part of the U.S. Mint's ongoing production of Abraham Lincoln pennies. These coins, which celebrate the legacy of the 16th president, have been a staple in American currency for decades. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1985, something went a little off track at the Denver Mint, and that's exactly what makes this coin so special. You see, most pennies from that year are just your standard, run-of-the-mill copper-plated zinc coins. They're worth, surprise, surprise, 1 cent. But due to a minting error, a small batch of 1985 D pennies ended up being struck in a way that makes them ultra-rare. We're talking about a misalignment, or some sort of funny business during the production process that gives these coins their unique characteristics. The result? A super valuable coin that is now worth a ridiculous $2 million in top condition. So, why is this penny worth so much? Well, it comes down to scarcity. Collectors go nuts for rare coins, and with only a handful of these 1985 D pennies in circulation, their value skyrockets. People are literally willing to drop millions on a penny. I mean, who knew a coin worth just 1 cent could be worth a fortune? It's like buying a pack of gum and finding out it's a time machine. Now, here's the part where things get a little tricky. Not every 1985 D penny is worth $2 million. In fact, most of them aren't even worth $1. So how do you know if you've got the $1 million gem sitting in your pocket? Here's a fun little story from my own coin hunting days. A few years ago, I was at a local yard sale when I stumbled upon a huge jar of old pennies. Naturally, I grabbed it, because who can resist a treasure hunt, right? I'm going through the jar, examining each coin like a pro, and I come across what looks like a fairly ordinary 1985 D penny. But hey, I'm no expert, so I throw it in my pile and move on. Fast forward a week, and I'm scrolling through my favorite coin forum when someone mentions that certain 1985 D pennies can be worth a fortune if they have a specific minting error. My heart nearly stopped. I go back to that penny, hold it up to the light, and sure enough, it's got the telltale signs. I got so excited, I almost dropped it. But then, I did the smart thing and took it to a professional for grading. Turns out, mine wasn't worth millions, but it was still worth more than I paid for the entire jar. Moral of the story: always check your change SO. If you think you've got a 1985 D penny that might be worth some serious cash, the first step is to inspect it carefully. You'll want to look for specific characteristics, like the way the coin was struck and if there are any noticeable minting flaws. Some experts suggest using a magnifying glass to get a closer look at the details on the Lincoln Memorial side of the penny. Those subtle differences can make or break your fortune. Also, if you've got a 1985 D penny, get it graded by a reputable company. Grading services evaluate the condition of the coin and can confirm whether it's a genuine treasure or just an average penny. The better the condition, the higher the value. A coin in mint condition can fetch a far higher price than one that's been banged up or worn down over the years. Now, let's talk numbers. The most famous 1985 D penny that sold for $2 million was in perfect condition. We're talking about a coin that has no scratches, no discoloration, and is almost as shiny as the day it was minted. The price for a coin like that might be out of most people's budgets, but even coins in less than perfect condition can fetch a hefty price. Some may be worth thousands or even tens of thousands depending on their grading. It's crazy how the market for these things works. But remember, this doesn't mean every 1985 D penny you find is worth millions. The market fluctuates, and just because you've got a rare penny doesn't automatically make it a jackpot. Still, it's worth checking out, because who knows? Maybe your penny is just waiting to make you rich. The 1985 D penny, a coin that could turn your pocket change into a small fortune. But here's the thing. Just like with any collectible, the value of these coins is all about rarity, condition, and timing. Not every penny will make you a millionaire, but it's always worth taking a second look at your spare change or old coin collections. And hey, if you love the idea of finding hidden gems like the 1985 D penny, make sure to subscribe to this channel. We've got tons of tips and tricks for hunting down valuable coins, as well as strategies for building your own collection that could one day make you a fortune. Trust me, there's a lot more out there than you might think. So hit that subscribe button, join the coin hunting community, and let's keep digging for those rare finds. Who knows? Maybe your next penny is worth $2 million.